now reversed. Where you're supposed to have a form scanned at the polling station at the constituency center, and then portal, and then now the engineer.
You need a result, so you put the result first, because that is what Kenyans are
without the image
supporting.
Right.
The problem is, NASA said that we are not going to court, so they never thought that they was meant to counter. Then all of a sudden, you have a team of 100 people that's been auditing the electoral process, and they come with 25,000 pages of evidence.
Right.
So you start racking your brain. What am I going to do? So you hire young boys and girls who are unfortunately probably unaware of the impact of what they are doing, and you're telling them, start filling these forms. So they don't even put results to match what is in the portal, because the portal is not authentic. No, the best way to catch a liar is to ask him to repeat a story.
Right.
It'll take a different form and a different form, because it never really happened.
If I can show you this. This is a report on 11,000 forms from the portal versus what was given to the agents versus what was deposited in the IBC.
Right.
You can see, for instance, KO South Kitani Primary. The original Form 34A was unstamped, but stamped in the IBC, the affidavit. In Matugen Primary, original 34A was unstamped, but stamped in IBC affidavit.
Right.
What you see, and there's a whole variety of offences. Cherangani, or where initial votes did not tally, now they tally. Initial form was unsigned, now it is signed. Initial form. So there was a whole back.
We're talking here about 34Bs from the constituency. Was this also happening with the 34As?
Yes.
Right.
And not just for the presidential contest. It was happening in gubernatorial contests, in MP contests, senatorial contests, even in MCA contests.
Right.
So the fact of the matter is, the question your listeners need to ask themselves, did we have an election on the 8th of August, or did people just line up and put pieces of paper in a box?
Just to demonstrate to you the extent, because there are 3 criteria needed to be fulfilled at the Supreme Court. Whether there were irregularities, 4 criteria. Whether there were irregularities, and if they were they widespread and systemic? And if they were widespread and systemic, were they of a material numerical significance enough to change the results outcome? And finally, were they deliberate? On those 4 criteria, we satisfied 4 criteria. Were there irregularities? We were able to demonstrate irregularities in 29,000 forms of Form 34A. 14,000 forms were subsequently edited, which we have a demonstration over here, and I can leave you the documentation to go and see. Of the Form 34Bs, we only had 77 Form 34Bs initially, and 142 Form 34Bs that had irregularities. So whether they were widespread and systemic, I think we've satisfied. Whether it was of material significance enough to invalidate an election. Of these categories, 27 categories in which we came up with, where these do not tally, these do not. come in. For instance, at stacked forms or 7.2 million votes.
Affect 7.2
affect
million
7.2 million votes. Sorry, not 7.2 million forms. Unsigned forms affected 3.6 million votes.
Unstamped.
Irregular tallies affected 1.6 million votes.
So it was widespread and didn't have a
material
effect in
significance.
what.
I even want to show you a single one right now. Ungazetted returning officers signing forms. This is in Wundanyi, Mandera East, Isiolo North, Mbere North, Kitui South, Yatta, Sigor, Turbo, Ainaboi, and Kajiado West. It amounts to a total 594,476 votes.
Wow.
You are not allowed
to sign
the form.
Okay.
Yet you've signed the form. You're an ungazetted RO. Who are you? You see the form.
You'd also spoken of ungazetted polling stations.
Yeah, I have a whole report on that. That's
results coming from fictitious.
How many were this? There were what, like 11,000 or something like that?
No. Ungazetted polling stations.
How many ungazetted polling stations?
For what out of the 29,000 we did, we found 743.
743 ungazetted
polling stations.
Right, okay.
Totaling about 800,000 votes, affecting about 800,000 votes. Yeah. So already that wipes away your margin.
Your lead.
Your lead.
That is true.
On other irregularities like Form 34Bs that do not have security features. Now, in fact, let me bring you to the Supreme Court scrutiny, which was the final process, because the Supreme Court scrutiny had mandated in the presence of the Registrar of the Supreme Court all the parties to go through that, and we went through 290 forms.
Right.
Within those, 77 of them did not have security features. They did not have watermarks. Mtu amejiandikia form nyumbani kwake. Yeah.
Just to emphasize that, there was a judge who said, smoking on Jala, because Paul Mwite said that the security features were not provided in law.
Right.
So, Justice Smoking on Jala asked him a simple question. Then why do some forms have them and others don't?
Yeah.
You need to standardize an election.
Right.
So if
and I
you don't do
remember the
that,
Chief Justice mentioned that, and the parent asked him how come that some have and some don't. You know, and I think his response was that some features get
it
lost.
was
when you photocopy, why you are photocopying?
It's an abundance of caution.
But because I'd like us to quickly move to this idea of an algorithm. Now, from what you've explained, this is being reverse engineered. But the algorithm assumes that there is an actual result that then creates this other result. Could you explain how you marry those two?
So, there were some authentic results. And if you check in the server, there were two approaches to this thing. In NASA strongholds, try limit the voter turnout, try limit votes cast in favor of Raila Odinga, and try improve votes cast for Uhuru Kenyatta.
Right.
In Jubilee strongholds, remove everything.
Right.
And put Uhuru Kenyatta at an astute lead and Raila Odinga with paltry results. So there was some, because they could not do this all over the country, because some results would surely raise questions.
Right.
For example, if Jubilee MPs got elected in Siaya.
Yeah.
Or in parts of Western and Kisii.
Right.
Yeah. So those ones were left untouched. So there were some authentic presidential results from those places.
Right.
And then the algorithm came to play in other places, such as Bomet, such as Kajiado, such as Garissa, such as Wajir. In fact, in Balambala constituency, in Wajir County, voter turnout was 120%.
Wow. And Kim should have rejected.
Should have. It tells you the results did not come from the king's tablet because it's programmed to reject.
Right.
So that's why there's a bit of a disparity between, you mentioned the 200,000 figure,
right,
between what the algorithm was yielding and what was actually showing on the portal.
Right.
Like I've repeatedly said, the answer to this election lies in the South.
Yeah, I think I need to explain the 200,000 figure because one filming at the time. In essence, if you look at the final results, just at the final result was announced by the IEBC, and that's currently on the IEBC server. If you use the algorithm on that, you end up with 200,000 more votes than the IEBC actually announced. And what he's explaining is that this wasn't done uniformly. So it wasn't all results that then generated. It's just certain specific places
to fit into a narrative.
Then included. But then how do you account for this constant line that you had? It wasn't being done everywhere.
If I can speak about the algorithm, and just to tell what's his name? It wasn't a linear equation. It was a regression analysis.
Right.
And the reason, maybe you argue that there were 200,000 extra votes and different interventions. It is important to remember there was supposed to be no back-end intervention in this entire system at all.
Right.
Yeah, we are talking about 26,000 different occasions on the server logs where 26,000
people are doing things.
People are doing things. And on top of this, there's introduction of applications, usually which usually means introduction of some edit to what the product, the outcome is supposed to be. So at various intervals, those that in an entirely clean election, they should be able to provide the server logs, and you'll see the KIMS kits, and you'll see the entries and where they're coming from and which part of the country they're coming from. And the result will be coherent, understandable, and make a lot of sense. The story of the server and the server logs is corroborated by the story in the forms. The edits are not imaginary, the edits are visible. The edits are 9,000 edits that can be demonstrated. It's not a guess, it's something that can be shown. The edits are different from their own forms deposited in the IEBC against the forms on the deposited for the scrutiny. So the server logs, the edits, what all sum up to.
I'm still not clear how we end up with the constant 11%. Now we've said that is basically it's a fake result.
Can I tell you another issue that we raised?
When you say it's being generated from an algorithm that is being run on actual numbers, that's I think there's a bit of confusion.
Then let me explain to you.
That will be
but there's also another answer which we raised with the commission in one of the meetings where we were present as the NASA side, the Jubilee side was there. We were saying if results are coming randomly from across the country, then it needs to be progressive. 10 polling stations, 13, 70. There's no predicting how fast the results are coming. But we would see 1.5 million against 800,000. Then it stops. 3 hours pass, 5 million against 3 million. Then it stops. The next day, 8 million, and that was one of the issues that we said, you need to demonstrate the progression of this result. So that linear format was occurring at large time intervals. It was not occurring progressively. So that's why we're saying the process was opaque. And just to emphasize this, I was in the room when the Right Honourable Raila Odinga, in a sitting with the commission, told them, open up this server. Let the diplomatic corps representation be present. Let representatives of my counterparts be present and my representatives are present. Even call the media if you want. if what you're beaming on that screen is what is in that server, I will concede immediately.
Right here, right now.
Now, and Senator Orengo, who was the deputy chief agent, repeated the same to the press,
Right.
and it's on record. If you open the server and what they're beaming is what is there,
We shall
Raila
concede.
Odinga will concede immediately.
Right.
Why wouldn't
They refused.
Why
Who would
wouldn't they
refuse
take
such
that
an offer?
offer? Isn't that the best offer in the world?
Who would refuse such an offer?
I'm sure even right now it's still on the table.
Who would refuse such an offer?
Well,
And even when we went to court, remember people were calling it a fishing expedition.
Right.
You remember? And with courage, we told them, open this server
you're right.
to the world. Let the world see what is in there. If it shows that result, we have no problem.
So if I may, what I'm getting from
Yeah.
you is that the process seems to be now reversed, where you're supposed to have a form scanned at the polling station, at the constituency center, and then forwarded it on a portal.
Right.
But here it's on the portal, and then now the engineer
The
can forward.
engineer.
You need a result, so you put the result first,
Right.
because that is what Kenyans are watching.
Without the image.
Then-
Supporting the
Right.
The problem is, NASA said that we are not going to court. So they never thought
You
that
never
there was need
expected
to
that. Right.
account for it. Then all of a sudden, you have a team of 100 people that's